Welcome to this brief introduction to the KNIME platform. The KNIME platform has this graphical interface. In this graphical interface, we can recognize several areas. The top left area is called KNIME Explorer area. It is used by the user to organize the workflows that he or she develops. Then we have the Favorite Notes area. In this area, the user can access the personal favorite notes, the most frequently used notes, and the last used notes. Then we have the Node Repository area, which is extremely important. In this area, all the nodes which are made available by KNIME are listed. In particular, they are listed using a tree structure. We have several groups, I/O, database, manipulation, and so on. And under each of these groups, we have the sets of the nodes which are made available. For example, if we focus to the I/O group of nodes, we can open this group of nodes by clicking on the left triangle. Then we can access the group of read, write, other, file handling, or the cache node. If we want, for example, to access to the read nodes, again we click on this triangle, and here we have the list of the available nodes. In particular, we have file reader, ARFF reader, CSV reader, and so on. Then we move to the outline area. In this area, the graphical representation of the workflow is made available for navigation purposes. Then we have two other areas which are called console and error log. The console simply lists all the set of instructions that are submitted to the KNIME platform, while the error log areas contains all the errors that are associated with executing instruction by the KNIME platform. Then we have this area that now is in gray, and this is the workflow area that we comment next. Finally, we have the node description area. In this area, the description of each KNIME node is made available, including also the input parameters, output parameters, and all this kind of information required or needed to use the specific node. Now, assume that we have a database of bank customers and that the data of the bank customers are available in a CSV file. So, we need to load this CSV file. To load this CSV file, we first need to create a new KNIME project. To create a KNIME project, we click on the File menu and we select the New option. Then this window opens and we have different possibilities. The first one is to generate a new KNIME workflow. The second one is to generate a new KNIME workflow group. KNIME workflow group is useful when the user wants to group several workflows to solve a given task, a given project, for example. However, in this case, we select the new KNIME workflow option and we click on the next button. And here we can specify which is the name of the workflow to create, and also we can select the destination of the new workflow. In this case, we call the new project simply KNIME project, and we use the default choice for the destination of the new workflow. To confirm this choice, we click the Finish button. So we can see now that in this central area, the KNIME workflow area, now we have a white panel. Then we can close this KNIME workflow by simply clicking on this cross, and we can go back and reopen the just generated KNIME workflow by simply clicking on this triangle, finding the KNIME project workflow, and double-clicking in quick sequence on using the left button of the mouse. Then here we are back to the KNIME workflow area. Now, to read the CSV file, we need to add an I/O node, in particular a read node, and in particular a CSV reader node. The description of the capabilities of the CSV reader node is made available in the node description area, as we have already described before. To add a CSV reader node to the KNIME workflow area, we have two different possibilities. The first one is a drag and drop, so we use the left button on the mouse, we click on the CSV reader node, and we drag and drop into the workflow area the node, obtaining this result. The other possibility is to move on the node over the node and quickly clicking in rapid sequence with the left button of the mouse on the node, and this is what we obtain. If we want to delete a node, we simply move on the node, we select it with the left button of the mouse, and we use the cancel button. Then, once we have added this node, we can move across the KNIME workflow area, but we still need to configure the node. To configure the node, we right-click the button of the mouse and we select the configure option. Then, in this area, we first need to specify where is the file to be loaded. To this extent, we can use this browse button and we can navigate the directory, the structure of our disk. In this case, we search for lectures, MOOC, datasets, classification, we select churn, and here is the file that we need to load. So we select it and we push the OK button. Then, in this case, we must know which is the structure of this CSV file. In particular, we use the default for all these options, and we know that this CSV file has a column header while it does not have a row header. So we simply uncheck this check button and we confirm our choice pushing the OK button. Now this node is in these three this sort of traffic light. We have the yellow color, while before configuring it was red. The yellow color means that the node is ready to be executed. To execute this node, we have different possibilities. We can use this button. We can move over the node and click the right button of the mouse and select execute. So we make the decision to use this second option. We select execute, so the node is executed, and this means that the file, the CSV file, has been loaded. If we want to access the output of the reading operation, we simply right-click the button of the mouse and we select the file table option. Here we have the content of the file which has been of the CSV file which has been read using the CSV reader node. We can now close this window and assume now that we want to represent using an interactive table the content of the CSV file. Then, in this case, we need to add to the KNIME workflow an interactive table node. So to search for a specific node, we have this utility. You can simply write interactive here, yeah, and here we can find the required node, interactive table. We drag and drop to the KNIME workflow area. And now we see that first this traffic light is red, so this means that this node cannot be executed, and indeed before to be executed this node needs to be fed with the data. So to feed with the data the interactive table node, we use this triangle of the CSV reader node. We click with the left button of the mouse, and then we drag and drop till the triangle, the input triangle of the interactive table. Then we release the left button of the mouse, and we can see that now the color of the traffic light changed from red to yellow. So now this node can be executed. To execute this node, in this case, we use this button. So we push this button, and now we have that the traffic light is green. This means that the node has been executed correctly. To access the output of this execution, again we right-click the button of the mouse and we select the View Table View option. Then this window opens, and here we have the interactive table, which allows to select columns, which select rows. Here we have the names of the variables that are included into the CSV file. We can also scroll, business as usual, and now we close this window. Assume now that we want to add an additional node, for example, a node which allows to compute statistics. Then we can search for this node by using this search tool, statistics, and we make the decision to use this node. So again, we drag and drop the node, and we connect once more, left click in the button of the mouse and releasing here the connection. Then also in this case the traffic light of the statistics node has become now yellow, and so this means that the node can be executed. To execute this node, in this case we have two different possibilities, two different options. The first one is to use the execute command, and the second one is to use the execute and open views command. In this case, we make the decision to use this second option. So we select execute and open views, and after the execution, here is the result. We have this window where we have three different panels. One panel associated with numerics variables, one associated with nominal variables, and finally one summary of the metadata concerning all the variables that are included into the CSV file. Now we can close this window, and it is also important that to tell that if we want to access the output of the execution of this node, we can simply right-click the button of the mouse and we select one of the three tables associated with the three panels that we have just shown. For example, we can select just the statistics table, and here is what we obtain. So the first panel that we have shown in the previous graphical representation. We can now close this window, and we are back to our KNIME workflow. It is also important to tell that we can associate additional information to each node. For example, we can give a brief description about the goal of the node. To associate this brief description, we right-click the button of the mouse and we select the Edit Node Description option. Then this window opens, and here we can add some textual information describing the goal of the node. For example, this node is used to load the bank data set. So we confirm this, and once we have confirmed, each time we move over the node, we have that this information will be made available. Then it is also important to tell that in some cases it can be useful to group in a single element different nodes that are associated with a specific task. For example, we can be interested to group interactive table and statistics into a group of data summarization. In this case, we select the two nodes and we right-click the button of the mouse and we select the collapse into meta node option. Once we have selected this, we are asked to confirm the choice, and then we select the OK button, and we are asked to specify which is the name of the created metanode. In this case, we call it summary. Then we click the OK button, and this node is generated. In particular, this is a metanode, and if we want to access the content of this metanode, we simply right-click 2 times in rapid sequence on it, and so we access this new area. This area is called summary and is associated with the KNIME project. So we can now manipulate the nodes as shown before, and we can also make the decision to provide some output from this metanode. To this extent, we close first this metanode, and then we move over the metanode, we right-click the button of the mouse, and we select the the reconfigure metanode option. In this case, we can access which are the input ports of the considered metanode. In this case, we just have one input port, which is this one, and it is a data port. And we have no output port. If we want to add an output port, we can simply click the Add button and we select the port type. Also, in this case, we make the decision to use a data port. So we select data, we click OK, and then we confirm our choice using the Finish button. You see now that we have a triangle also here as an output of the summary metanode, and if we enter this metanode, we can connect one of these outputs to this triangle, which is the output of the metanode. In this case, we connect the occurrence table of this node. We can execute this, so we can connect the occurrence table of these statistics to this output data port for the metanode. We can now close this, and we can execute, or however, in this case we already executed, so we already can access this output, and we can connect this metanode with additional nodes. For example, again, we can use an interactive table, interactive table. We add this interactive table, and we connect this to the interactive table. Then we execute this interactive table and open the view, and here we have the interactive table. We can now close this window, and we want also to give some additional information. For example, it can be the case that in some situation we want to graphically group specific areas. To this extent, we simply right-click the button of the mouse on the KNIME workflow area. We select the new workflow annotation. The new workflow annotation can be used to identify a specific group of nodes, for example, in this case, summary and interactive table, and we can also provide some textual information. So we can write that this is a summary for the bank data set. Okay, we can also change the color of this. So this we right-click the button of the mouse and we select background, and here we can select different colors. For example, in this case, we select a salmon color. We close this window by describing a useful feature that is made available by KNIME, which is the way in which we can arrange the nodes. For example, assume that you have a set of nodes like those that I'm adding now, and these nodes must be organized to be in a given column, so to be aligned. However, it is difficult to move into the area and to perfectly align these nodes. So in this case, we simply can select all the nodes and we can use this command, the command align selected nodes vertically. When we click here, the nodes are automatically aligned vertically, and we have an equivalent command for the alignment in according to the horizontal line. So once we have finished to manipulate your KNIME workflow, you can simply save this KNIME workflow using this button. So you push this button, you save your workflow, and you can also add additional information to the KNIME workflow to describe, to add meta information to the KNIME workflow. You move to the KNIME project, then you right click the button of the mouse and you select edit meta information. Here you can specify the name of the author, the creation date, and you can also provide some comments which are useful for further understanding, maybe when you eventually will come back to this workflow after a while. So you can close now this window and we are back to our workflow. I hope that this brief introduction to the KNIME platform is useful for you to start to use it. Thank you very much.